Hello everyone, this is Shekinah Barraca, your reporter for this topic about the psychoanalytic social theory. So before we are going to proceed to the theory, so let us know first who is the author of this theory. Karen Danielsen Horney was born on September 16, 1885 in Elberg, Germany, the only daughter of Clotilde and Bernd Wickels Danielson. When she was 13, she decided to become a physician. In 1906, she entered the University of Freiburg, one of the first women in Germany to study medicine. She met her husband, which is Oscar Horney, a political science student. She became a member of a Zodiac group. Her book is The New Ways in Psychoanalysis. She established her clinic in 1952. She has 2 children, and she died on December 4, 1952 at the age of 62 years old with a disease of cancer. Under Horney's theory is the basic hostility and basic anxiety, the compulsive drives, the neurotic trends, neurotic needs, and the psychic conflicts, the idealized of self-image, self-hatred, feminine psychology, and psychotherapy. So before we're going to the psychosocial theory, let us first compare the theory of Freud and Horney. So, Horney objected to Freud's ideas of feminine psychology. She stressed the view that psychoanalysis should be moved beyond instinct and emphasized the importance of cultural influences in shaping our personality. Yes. And according to her, man is ruled not by the pleasure principle alone, but by 2 guiding principles, which is the safety and the satisfaction. So, according to her, so hindi lang focus lang yung sa principle, pleasure principle yung focus as what we have discussed in Freud, and more on pleasure principle si Freud. So, sabi ni Horney, hindi lang sa hindi lang sa pleasure principle nagfo-focus yung nag-rule ng isang tao, which is ito ang safety at ang satisfaction din. So, that is their theory. So, the psychoanalytic social theory. So, psychoanalytic social theory was built on the assumption of that social and cultural conditions, especially childhood experiences, are largely responsible for shaping personality. So, psychosocial theory is more on social and cultural influences or conditions, especially in our childhood experiences. It has a great impact to shaping in our personality. That is psychoanalytic social theory means. She emphasized the cultural influence as the primary basis. So, yung cultural influences, yung basis for the both neurotic and normal personality development of a person. So, in this theory also give the importance of childhood experiences. Childhood experiences are primarily responsible for personal development. So, mahalaga yung childhood experiences natin. Ito yung primary responsible to shape our personal development or to develop the person. That is the psychoanalytic social theory. So next, basic hostility and basic anxiety. So, the example of this is that if parents do not basic hostility, the example of this is that if parents do not satisfy the child needs for safety and satisfaction, the children develops of being basic hostility towards the parents. So, mafe-feel nila na ay pag hindi nabigyan ng parents ng kailangan ng kanilang mga anak, so it possible na matitrigger sila or ma-insecure or ano ba tawag dito, mafe-feel nila na hindi sila love sa kanilang parents because hindi na-provide. Ang iisipin ng bata na, ay, hindi ako love ng parents ko kasi hindi nila ako nabigyan ng gusto ko, ng ganyan. So, that is the basic hostility that leads to neurotic. So further, let's talk about the neurotic. What is neurotic means? So, the basic anxiety, it's also Horney defined as a feeling of being isolated and helpless in a world conceived as potential. So, yung mga taong hopeless, yung mga taong meaningless na sila, wala na silang silbi, ganyan. That is the basic anxiety. So, ang basic hostility is there is a connection between the two. So, if the parents, like ito, hindi ma-provide yung pangangailangan ng anak nila, so, maaaring yung bata is, mafe-feel nila na di sila secure pag pina-feel ng parents nila na hindi sila feel secure and they feel isolated and helpless. So, that is the basic hostility and basic anxiety. According to Horney, basic hostility and basic anxiety are inextricably interwoven. So, there is a connection between the two. Hostile impulses are the principal source. So, as what I had said, so basic hostility, yung una, basic anxiety, but basic anxiety can also contribute of feeling hostility. So, vice versa lang sila. So, that is the basic hostility and basic anxiety. Next is neurosis. So, neurosis, according to Horney, so one of the major highlight of this theory is all about the neurosis. It gives Horney give it the emphasis of what is neurosis. According to Horney, it is an attempt to make life bearable. A rational defense against anxiety that became a permanent part of personality and that affect the behavior. So, nakaka-apekto yung mga irrational defense against anxiety. So, ito yung mga personality na nag-a-affect din sa ating behavior. Neurosis needs unrealistic. So, yung mga neurosis or yung mga neurotic people is kailangan nila ng mga unrealistic or yung mga unreasonable and indiscriminate na mga tao. So, that is too much. As I have read the article, meron tong article kasi normal and neurotic are the same that they are same that experience problems, experience same problems. But, ang neurotic is more on much worse neurotic. So, wala si neurosis. So, sa basic anxiety, we have the 4 general protective device. First is the affection, a strategy that does not always lead to authentic love. So, as we all know, affection, so, like for example, may affection ka sa isang tao at may affection din sa iyo. Ito ang kadalasan na kadalasan na may misinterpret ng mga tao. Kasi if meron kayong affection sa isa't isa, yan, like ko yan siya, ganyan, like ko siya, maganda siya, ganyan, mabait. So, hindi yan siya tinatawag na love. So, iba ang love sa affection. So, nami-misinterpret ng karamihan. Like, in the, adolescent stage, mostly na-experience natin yung affection. So, that is affection means. So, submissiveness. So, neurotic, so So, neurotic may submit themselves either to people or to institutions such as an organization or a religion. So, mga neurotic na tao, hindi sila sinasubmit nila yung sarili nila sa mga taong naiintindihan sila, at hindi lang sa mga tao, kundi sa mga institusyon na kaya silang i-handle or kaya silang gamutin or kaya therapy o ganyan. So, next is the power. It's a defensive against the real or image hostility of others and takes the form of tendency to dominate others. So, yan, yung, mostly ito yung, most, pinag-aagawan, yung power. So, the power to dominate other people. So, yun siya. So, lastly is the withdrawal. Neurotic feel that they cannot hurt by other people. So, ang mga neurotic na mga tao ay doon sila sa mga taong hindi sila sasaktan. Hindi sila sasaktan ng tao. Bali, doon sila lumalapit o doon nila wini-withdraw or doon nila wini-withdraw yung mga hinanakit nila sa mga person na kaya silang intindihin at hindi sila sasaktan. So, that is the 4 general protective device. So, next, we have the compulsive drives. So, Horney insisted that neurotics do not enjoy in misery and suffering. They cannot change their behavior by free will, but most continually, and compulsive protective from themselves against basic anxiety. So, compulsive yung mga obsessive, yung mga obsessed sila. So, they can change their behavior. So, hindi nila ma-change yung behavior nila kasi hindi nila ma-change ang kanilang behavior because by free will, hindi nila ma-change na kung anong behavior na kung anong gusto nilang they're free will kung anong gusto nila, but most continually compulsive protective themselves against so they compulsively protect themselves from against the basic anxiety. So, pinipigilan nila na protektahan yung sarili nila sa basic anxiety. So, as I have discussed a while ago that basic anxiety is ito yung mga taong feel helpless, yung meaningless na mga tao. So, that is this defensive strategy traps them in a vicious circle in which their compulsive needs to reduce basic anxiety lead to behavior that perpetuate low self-esteem, generalized hostility, inappropriate striving power, inflated feelings of superiority, and persistent apprehension, all of which is more of basic anxiety. So, this defensive strategy that trap also which are their compulsive needs to reduce basic needs. So, pag ma-reduce na yung basic anxiety, so mag-perpetuate yung behavior ng tao. So, ito na yung may low esteem na na-generalize yung hostility ng inappropriate striving power. So, imbis na okay to use power, but dito na ina-abuse or ina-appropriate na lang paggamit ng power. Inflated feelings of superiority and persistent comprehension of all which is more basic anxiety. So, that is compulsive drives. So, Horney tentative pa ni siya identified 10 categories of neurotic needs that characterize neurotic in their attempts to combat basic anxiety. So first, we have the neurotic need for affection and approval. So, in this neurotic need, they try to live up the expectation of others, tend to dread self-assertion, and are quite uncomfortable with the hostility of others, as well the hostile feelings within themselves. So, sila, ito yung mga taong nag-e-expect, nag-live sila ng expectations sa iba, and then they tend to dread a self-assertion, and they are quiet and comfortable with the person who has kanang hostility, but the same pod kay hostile feelings, as well as hostile feelings within themselves. So napud sa ila hapod, so uncomfortable sila nga mag mukuan sa uban, but napod sa ilang sarili. So that is the neurotic need for affection and approval. And the second is the neurotic need for a powerful partner. So this is the lacking of self-confidence. So neurotic tries to attach themselves to a powerful partner. So ito lalak yung self-confidence ng isang tao, which means yung neurotic na tao is tinatry nila na ma-attach sa mga taong powerful, yung makakayahan. So in this need, Horney own life story reveals a strong need to relate to a great man. So yung as we all know about her husband, so it reveals a strong need to relate to a great man. So mas gusto nila yung taong magkakaintindi sila, kasi in normal kasi sa atin, okay lang sa atin na we have gusto natin magmahal at mahalin tayo, but in the neurotic needs is kailangan nila yung taong magmamahal at iintindihan sila. And so that is, and also she had arises of such during her adult life. So dito nagbase si Horney sa kanyang sa neurotic need for a powerful partner. Yung kadalasan nito is more on experiences niya on her adult life. So next is we have the neurotic need to restrict one's life with narrow borders. Neurotics frequently strive to remain inconspicuous, to take second place, and to be content with very little. They downgrade their own abilities and dread making demands of others. So this, dina-downgrade nila or abuso nila yung mga abilities sa kanila. Bale indiscriminate nila yung mga kakayahan nila, and they tend to dread in making demand of others. Grabe sila makademand sa uban while ganyan. So they ground their abilities and dread making on demands on others. So 4, the neurotic need for power. Power and affection are perhaps the two greatest neurotic needs. So remember this, that power and affection are perhaps the two greatest neurotic needs. The need for power is usually combined with needs of prestige and possession, and manifests itself as the need to control others and avoid feelings of weakness or stupidity. So eto, yung power kasi it is combined with prestige and possession, and nagmamanifest sila to control others and to avoid feeling of weakness, na pinapakita nila na hindi sila weak at hindi sila stupid, ganyan. So that is need for power. Needs prestige and possession, and nagmamanifest sila, and they control others. Need to control others. Kailangan nila mag-control para hindi sila makita ng ibang tao na weak sila. So that is the neurotic need for power. 5, the neurotic need to exploit others. So neurotics frequently evaluate. So as you have napansin, is more on neurotic. So Horney kasi mas more on yung study is more on sa mga neurotic people. So to another background of this, that she established her, as what I have introduced Horney, meron siyang clinic na for those who have neurotic mga neurotic people doon. So kaya more on siya sa neurotic na major niya. So of this theory is more on the neurotic people. So that is though. Neurotics frequently evaluate others on the basis of how they can be used or exploited, but at the same time, they are fear of being exploit others. Sanang grabe sila mag-evaluate sa uban of how they can be used or paano sila gamitin. So, how to evaluate. Evaluate nila ilang uban at the base of unsaon sila paggamit. Yan siya. But, ito, natatakot silang i-exploit. But, ang mga neurotic na tao ay natatakot silang i-exploit din ng iba. So, that is the neurotic need to exploit. 6. The neurotic need for social recognition or prestige. Some people combat basic anxiety by trying to be first, to be important, to attract attention to. Ayan. Mostly, ayan, sa mga socialite or sa mga hilig makipag-socialize is ang mga there is a combat of basic anxiety by trying to be first, trying to be important kailangan nga sikat ka kailangan lang ng attention to other attract attention to themselves. So basic anxiety by trying to be first, to be important, to attract attention ng social recognition ba like for example kanang ginadayeg yung siya permanente kailangan nga ikaw ra jud nga kanang sa imo jud makuan ma-influensahan ang uban na like for example sa a group of friends, so daghan man ta ani maka-encounter ta ani nga time nga ano nga siya papansin ana. So that is the social recognition trying to be important ba on kayo na siya grabe kayo siya yung mga amigo kay Luy kay ginapadala niya mga kuan mura kay anak gud siya. So that is the neurotic need for social recognition or prestige. So ito na yung mga kailangan nila. 7. The neurotic need for personal admiration. Neurotics have need to be admired for what they are rather than for what they possess. So mga neurotic na mga tao, kailangan din silang i-admire. Need din nila ng admiration for what they rather than what they possess. Their inflated self-esteem is continually fed by the admiration and approval of others. Their inflated self-esteem dapat kuan pod kailangan pod ng approval pod sa uban para i-admire sila. So need nila mag-admire pero kailangan pag-approval sa uban. So that is the neurotic need for personal admiration. Next is the neurotic need for ambition and personal achievement. So neurotics often have the strong drive. So mostly daghan jud ko I just wanna share this. Daghan ko na-encounter nga mga tao nga grabe jud kay sila mangandoy sa ilang kinabuhi na grabe standard kani dapat akong kuan dapat madato ko ana. So but as what I have said, the best salesperson, the best blower, the best lover, they must defeat other people in order to confirm their superiority. Kailangan ana sila kailangan ako nga madato jud ko, kailangan kay ako jud magkuan, ako jud hari-hari diri, kailangan ako jud ang manguna ana. So sometimes kasi ang ganyan malid jud na siya sa pag sobra na kaayo ka ambisyosa or ka-ambition kay if ma-failure murag dako siya impact sa imuha. And sadly daghan kog na-encounter nga mga tao na ana na grabe sila mangandoy silang kinabuhi niya kailangan ma-CEO ko, kailangan ako kailangan mga. So that is a priority na. So that is need for ambition and personal achievement. So sila jud the best jud, the best lovers, sila jud the best naman. Ilang striving for best sila ba, muna sila mga ambition ng mga tao or mga neurotic nga tao nga kailangan og ambition og personal achievement. So second to the last, the neurotic need for ambition and personal achievement. So the neurotic need for self-sufficiency, and many neurotics have strong need to move away from people. So some of neurotics kanang some sa ilaha kay kanang they need to move excuse me, they move away from people. So kanang kusog kay sila kanang magpalayo sa tao, move away from people nga dili sila hiyang or dili sila comfortable. So as what I have said, neurosis nga is that unrealistic or kailangan din nila ng taong maintindihan sila. So the playboy who cannot be tied down by any woman exemplifies the neurotic need. So mga playboy, sorry for so the playboy who cannot be tied down by any woman exemplifies this neurotic need. So yung mga playboy, hindi sila marunong makontento sa kanilang sarili. And so mga kadalasan yung mga babae nag-exemplify sila ng neurotic need nila. So that is. So last, the neurotic need for perfection and unsalability. So by striving relentlessly for perfection, neurotics receive proof and their self-esteem for personal superiority. So ang diri so nagsastrive sila ng perfection. And kailangan ang mga neurotic people na makaka-receive sila ng proof para tawagin sila ng perfect. So that is the neurotic need for perfection and unstability. They dread making mistake and having personal flaws, and they desperately attempt to hide their weakness from others. Ginatago nila ilang mga pagkakamali. Ilang mga pagkakamali ba na sila yung mga flaws. So in order nga dili makita sa uban, they need to hide from it to others. So before na sila magkuan na ingon sila nga perfect, kailangan sila approval or na I proof na pana siya perfect, we are perfect. And as without knowing that kung wala man jay tao nga perfect, diba? And sadly ina-hide nila yung mga weakness nila in order na dili sila makita sa ubang tao nga dapat ang pananaw sa tao sa ilaha is perfect sila. Without knowing, bisag kuan na jud, bisag magkinaunsa na jud diha, they hide their as long as nga makita sa uban nga perfect sila. So that is the 10 neurotic needs, categories of neurotic needs. So next, neurotic trends. So as her theory evolved, Horney began to see that list of 10 neurotic needs could be grouped into 3 general categories each. So kato siya neurotic needs 10. So in this neurotic needs man to siya. So neurotic trends, so isa na ni divide na ni siya ang katong pulo, divide na siya sa neurotic trends. So each relating to person's basic attitude towards self, towards not just in relating to so it relates to others and sa atong kaugalingon ug sa uban. So as what I have discussed the 10 categories of neurotic needs is na-involve dito yung sa sarili at sa others. So as theory of Horney that it is more on social and cultural influences. So next, we have 3, we have the moving toward people, moving against people, and moving away from people. So Horney used the term basic conflict because very young children are driven all three direction: toward, against, away from people. So sabi ko kanina that is involved of social and cultural, but also we have to discuss about the children or the children experiences that are driven. So basic conflict ni siya mo ni ang towards, against, and away from people. First is the moving toward people. It does not mean that moving toward them in spirit of genuine love. Moving toward to have is genuine love. Rather, it refers to neurotic need for protect against oneself of feelings of helplessness. So, dito, it refers to neurotic need of to protect. So, kailangan nila protektahan yung sarili nila sa pagiging helpless or pagiging meaningless. So, that is the moving toward people. Kailangan nila protektahan yung sarili nila kailangan nila protektahan yung sarili nila para hindi sila mafe-feel yung helplessness or what we call the basic anxiety. Next is the moving against people. So in this, people are compliant. It is aggressive because neurotically aggressive people are just as compulsive as compliant people are. Their behavior is just much prompted by basic anxiety. So dito is prompted by basic anxiety rather than moving toward people in a posture of submissiveness and independence. These people moves against others by appearing tough or ruthless. So they are motivated by a strong need to exploit others and to use to their own benefit. They seldom admit their mistake and constantly driven to appear perfect, powerful, and superior. So as what I have said, na-discuss na to kaganina na kanang they are motivated to exploit others. So nakita na to na ganina, diba? Na-discuss na to. So, and to use their own benefit. They seldom admit panagsalang sila kanang gina-admit nila lang kanang na sila'y mali and purpose driven to appear. So as what I have said kaina, kanang kailangan nila protektahan nilang sarili from their weakness, na kailangan nila ipakita sa ubang tao nga powerful sila o perfect sila. So that is moving against people. Moving away from people, it is basic conflict of isolation. Ito yung mga taong na-isolate ng mga problema and kailangan nilang ma-detach or kailangan nilang ma-detach. Manner and adopt neurotic trend of moving away from people. Kailangan silang lumayo. This strategy is an expression needs for privacy and dependence. So, dito, it is also a strategy of expression na kailangan ng privacy and independence and self-sufficiency. And these needs become neurotic when people try to satisfy them by compulsively putting emotional distance between themselves and other people. So, yung mga neurotic tao, ninatry nila na isatisfy yung pagput ng emotional distance nila between sa mga tao and the other people, or nilalayo nila yung sarili nila. So that is the neurotic way of people. Next is we have basic hostility, as what I have result from rejection or neglect by parents, from a defense against basic anxiety, result from parents' threat or defense against hostility. So defense against anxiety. So let us compare the normal and the neurotic defense. So normal yung kagawian natin na So like for example, spontaneous movement, and sa neurotic is more on compulsive, which is obsessing or obsess sila toward people. Sa normal, we are loving, friendly sa uban, sa kapwa. We are friendly to other people, we are loving, and our personality. And when it comes to neurotic, compliant, palaging reklamo, ganyan, ay di ko ana sa iha, oy kay kuan man na siya, kanang maldita man na siya. So that is neurotic. So against people, survival on a competitive society. So survivor siya, and kanang she is or competitive nga pagkatao, and against people, aggressive personality. So more on aggressive sila is more on nga kanang need power, perfection, superiority, but deep inside na sila ginatago sa ilang sulod. They are aggressive with that power and power, prestige, and superiority. So away from people, defenses, autonomous, serene personality. So sa normal, bisag unsa naman, at least kung comfortable ka sa isa ka tao, bisag unsa lang nga personality, autonomous. While sa away from people, detached personality. So nilalayo yung sarili nila to detach, kanang detach nila yung mga tao nila bang ng mga tao na hindi kanang dili wala makasabot sa ila, or kanang inaput nila yung self nila na pinupush forward nila yung mga taong ayaw silang makausap kasi ganyan. So that is the defense against anxiety. So next we have the intrapsychic conflict. It is flow from basic anxiety, stems from child relationship with other people. So muna siya ang neurotic trends ni siya nga nag-flow from basic anxiety. Yung ugat niya or yung stem niya is the child relationship with other people. Horney did not neglect the impact of the psychic factors in development of personality. As her theory evolved, she began to place greater emphasis on the inner conflicts that both normal and neurotic individual experiences. So Horney, she emphasizes more on inner conflicts, both sa normal and neurotic individual experiences. So intrapsychic, so when it comes to this, so it originates from the word interpersonal experiences, which is, it has two conflicts, which is the ideal self-image, which is an attempt to solve conflict by painting a godlike picture of oneself. Next is we have the self-hatred. So first we have to discuss first the ideal self. So if given an environment of discipline and warmth, will develop feelings of security and self-confidence and a tendency to move forward of self-realization. Yung ideal self kasi yung gusto natin sa ating sarili. Mo ni siya. And yung pinipaint natin yung sarili, di ba? Ay, ganyan, gusto ko, ganyan. Kailangan ganyan, ako na. Muna siya ang self-image. Nay, 3 aspects nga gi-organize si Horney, which is the neurotic search for glory, neurotic claims, and neurotic pride. First, we have the neurotic search for glory. It is referred to this comprehensive drive towards actualizing the ideal self. Kaning search for glory, kanang their goals, their aspects of their lives, na kanang gusto na ko nga kanay maabot ko niya akong goal, and search for glory ba kanang makamit nila to, and self-concept and relation with others. So mo na siya kanang nagse-search sila ba para mahimaya or ma-attain nila to. So that is the one of the ideal self. Kailangan akong goal nga ing ani, kailangan akong goal, akong self-concept ing ani, akong personality dapat ing ani. So that is the neurotic search for glory. Next is we have is neurotic claims, in which it is more on these demands are much accord with their self-image. They fail to see that their claims of special privilege are unreasonable. So, anang palagi sila nag-claim ba na ay something wrong sa outside world that they proclaim that they are special. Dapat special sila. Dapat i-treat sila sa mga tao nga in accordance to their idealized self. Kailangan na dapat ingani ko ninyo i-treat, dapat kung accordance with their idea view of themselves. So kailangan nila nga i-treat sila nga according po sa ilang view sa ilang sarili. So that is neurotic claims. Na kailangan i-claim nila nga ay dapat ingani jud ko, dapat i-treat ko ninyo nga ingani ko. So that is the neurotic claims. Next is the neurotic pride, in which a false pride is not unrealistic view of the true self but spurious image of ideals. The neurotic pride is collectively different from healthy pride or realistic esteem. So, kanang ma-pride na tao na ay dapat kanang ingani jud ko, mas taas ko, dili ka magpapildi jud, ikaw jud mismo ang mukuan mulabaw. So that is the ideal self-image and their aspects. So next is we have the major ways in which people express self-hatred. So first, nasa 6 kabuok. So relentless demands on the self. So grabe kay mo demand sa atong sarili niya. Pagkahuman ana di ay kay ginapush at atong sarili for perfection, because I believe that dapat paging perfect jud ta ing ana. So second, merciless of ayan. So mga neurotic tao na sila kabalo lang man sila kung unsa ko, ay kabalo sila kung unsa ko, pero dili jud, but ang tanan naga-pretend lang ko. So that is merciless ba isakripisyo or sawa sakripisyo nagpretend lang ko ba nga okay lang ko nga ing ana easy going ana, pero taman-taman dai kay dili. So that is one of the ways of self-hatred. So next is the self-contempt. Ginakuan ka, ginainan kag wala kay pulos, disparaging, doubting, discrediting, and ridiculing oneself. Wala kay pulos, wala kay ayo, ana. So naka-cause na siya og self-hatred sa tong kagalingan. Ginahate na nato sa sarili, ay ingani man ko, wala man koy pulos, ana. So next, like for example, sa self-contempt, wala koy pulos nga pagkaanak ingani kay ko, wala koy ayo, wala koy nabuhat ingani, puro lay mali nakita sa ako. So that is the self-hatred. Next is self-frustration. Sila grabe kay sila ma-frustrate ba like for example nga di man ako na deserve nga job, kay unsa ra gud ko, dili man ako na kaya, dili na ko na siya kaya ba niya, wala koy kwarta niya, dili pud kay ko bright gina-degrade ni mo kaugalingon, ay ma-frustrate ka ba na I don't deserve a car, so new car, like for example for this, I don't deserve new car, dili man ako deserve ang mga sagkanan ko, kay unsa ra gud ko niya, dili ba jud ko kuan ingani. So that is naka-cause po na siya og kuan self-hatred sa tong kaugalingon. So next, self-torment or self-torture, yung gina-torture na tong kaugalingon, like for example nag-away mo sa imong uyab, like for example nag-away mo sa imong uyab, tapos tungod kay love lagi nimo siya, so away mo to sige kung ingani man lang magbulag ta, magpakamatay na lang ko, so gina-torture na yung kaugalingon ba nga i-torture jud nimo nga ingana. So that is the one of self-hatred. Di po sa uyab sa anak pod, sa uban, or depende basta kay for example is one of experience kay best example na ang uyab no. Sige, kung mabulagan ko nimo ana, bulagan ko nimo ana, sige magbulag na lang ta, kung ingani lang man di ay may magpakamatay na lang ko. So that is self torment. So ingana na siya, so self-destructive. So diri kay ma-impose ang kanang physical o psychological, conscious o unconscious, kanang ma-distract ka sa isa ka butang ba, kanang unsa man jud ni oy, kanang ay lahi na po nya pagkahuman, lahi na po imong desisyon, kanang ma-distract ka sa lain ka, like for example mag-study ka, ay mag-cellphone sa ko, ay dili ito wason sa anak ko ni, so ingana siya murag dira pon ma-hate po di mo kalagutan malagot mo kung galingon ay kay kanang walay klaro ba kanang unsay kay ganahan unsay dili, so nadara ang conscious ug unconscious ha. So that is the 6 major ways in which people express self-hatred. Next is the feminine psychology. As a woman trained in post-masculine psychology of Freud, Horney gradually realized that the traditional psychoanalytic views is good. Then she set forth her own theory, one that rejected several of Freud's basic ideas. So as what I have said earlier, nag-reject ni kanang one of the theory of Freud kay reject ni Horney sa of idea of basic idea sa feminine psychology. So recognize the Oedipus complex. She insisted that it was due to be universal. Also, Horney saw no evidence of a universal Oedipus complex. Instead, she held that this one only in some people an expression of the neurotic need for love. Neurotic need for love muna ang one sa neurotic kanang need sila ng love and care. So the neurotic need for affection and neurotic need for aggression usually begin in childhood are two of the 3 basic neurotic trends. So kailangan mostly ang neurotic people is siya sa childhood experiences nato. Kanang need natog affection sa atong ginikanan ug aggression muna siya. But these 2 behaviors are means of elevating basic anxiety, and then that not manifestations of anomatically based on Oedipus complex. Even when there is a sexual aspects to this behavior, their child main goal is security, not in sexual oracles. So, ang goal ni Horney sa feminine psychology to child, so nagtalk man siya about child experiences, is that dili sexual intercourse kundi iyang goal is that child's main security when it comes to their parents. So mao na siya. So that is the feminine psychology. So in this, with the second major technique, free association, patients are asked to say everything that comes to my mind regardless how trivial or embarrassing it may seem. So that is feminine psychology. And now, so psychotherapy is that neuroses grow out of basic conflict that gradually begins in childhood. The general goal of Horneyan therapy is to help patients gradually grow. So psychotherapy, so yung therapy dito sa yung mga neurotic is that they have the gradually grow to have their self-realization from self-hatred, from neurotic problems sa neurotic people. So, kailangan sila na kailangan nila na ganon. So, more especially aim to have patient give up self-realization ang kuani ko Horney dito, and then to give up their ideal self-image, relinquish their neurotic search of glory, i-remove to tanan, and they change its own. Muna siya ang therapy ha. They change self-hatred to an acceptance of the real self. So, instead of instead of self-hatred, kailangan i-accept nila kung ano sila. Hindi yung ideal self, yung self-hatred. So, that is the psychotherapy of dealing with neurotic diseases. Next, lastly, we have the concept humanity. Horney's concept humanity was based almost entirely on her clinical experiences. So, most likely, kung sa concept ni Horney is kanang na-experience sa iyang clinic. So, sa iyang clinical experiences with the neurotic patient. Therefore, her human personality is strongly colored by concept of neurosis. So, as we have discussed while ago, kanang more on focus jud sa neurosis, no? So, concept niya, so more on concept siya sa neurosis. According to Horney, the prime difference between a healthy person and a neurotic individual is the degree of compulsive with which each moves towards, against, or away from people. Muna siya. So, Horney's psychoanalytic theory is rated slightly higher on free choice than on determinism. Mas more on optimistic free choice si Horney kaysa ka determinism. So, Horney is somewhat more than it is optimistic than pessimistic. Horney believed that people possess inherent curative powers that lead them to self-realization. So, kailangan din so, ang gina-focus po ni Horney kanang nakay self-realization sa imong kaugalingon na kanang mga ideal self nimo kailangan nimo ipang-release na siya or ipanghawa na sa imong kalingon. O dili puro kanang kalagot sa kaugalingon ang imong ipairal. So, kung unsa ka dapat dawaton nimo siya. So, that about this theory. Casualty versus teleology, she stated that the natural goal for people is so ang goal jud nato is that self-realization kanang natay kanang natun-an sa atong kaugalingon. And like for example for me, despite sa nahitabo sa akong childhood experiences nga nagdako ko nga wala akong papa and but as I grow older na realize lang pud nako nga makahelp to siya sa to develop my personality, and that in that way, na-realize na ko nga, kanang, bahalag, walay papa, basta kay, kanang, happy ko sa akong kagalingon, and I'm happy, and I am blessed to my parents. So, that is the goal for psychoanalytic social theory, but also, believe that childhood experiences can block that movement. But also, kanang, dili man sa tanang childhood experiences na to, kanang ma-realize na to or move forward tayo, pero na may uban nga kanang ilang childhood experiences kay maltrato sila sa ilang ginikanan, so maka-block pud siya og kanang movement sa atong personality. Next is conscious versus unconscious motivation. She believed that most people have only limited awareness of their motive. So, according to Horney, nga ang tao na lang jud limited awareness of their motives, kanang di lang pataka lang pud og kanang alam mo jud ni akong ikuan i-strive o jud ni akong motive nga akong gusto motive nga kanang gusto na ko nga kuhaon na ko na siya, kailangan ideal self, kailangan ako makuha akong goal, kailangan ako kanang ako lang jud dayigon sa mga tao ana, kailangan kay hindi na ko ipaubos akong pride, dapat pataas jud ana. So nay limit siya. According to her, there is a limit. So that would be all. Thank you for listening. I hope you would learn something, guys. Thank you and God bless.